So now we're on to book 2, as we had discussed before. And this book, like it had said, is no longer about Despero. They are changing the direction of the story. We left Despero in the dungeon, and now we are moving on to a different story about a different mouse, but they connect. The stories connect to each other. So they're going to talk about that. And this story is actually going to be about a rat named Chiaroscuro. Chapter 16, Blinded by the Light. As our story continues, reader, we must go backward in time to the birth of a rat named Chiaroscuro. He's called Roscuro, a rat born into the filth and darkness of a dungeon, several years before the mouse Despero was born upstairs in the light. Reader, do you know the definition of the word chiaroscuro? If you look in your dictionary, you will find that it means the arrangement of light and dark, darkness and light together. Rats do not care for light. Roscuro's parents were having a bit of fun when they named their son. Rats have a sense of humor. Rats, in fact, think that life is very funny, and they are right, reader. They are right. In the case of Chiaroscuro, however, the joke had a hint of prophecy to it, for it happened that when Roscuro was a very young rat, he came upon a great length of rope on the dungeon floor. "Ah, what do we have here?" said Roscuro. Being a rat, he immediately began to nibble at the rope. "Stop that!" boomed a voice, and a great hand came out of the darkness and picked up the rat by the tail and held him suspended upside down. "Were you nibbling on Gregory's rope, rat?" "Who wants to know?" asked Roscuro, for even upside down, he was still a rat. "You smart alecky rat. You smart alecky rat, nibbling on Gregory's rope. Gregory will teach you to mess with his rope." And keeping Roscuro upside down, Gregory lit a match with the nail of his thumb, and then held the brilliant flame in Roscuro's face. "Ah!" said Roscuro. He pulled his head back, away from the light, but alas, he did not close his eyes, and the flame exploded around him and danced inside him. "Has no one told you the rules?" said Gregory. "What rules?" "Gregory's rope, rat, is off limits. So apologize for chewing on Gregory's rope." "I will not," said Roscuro. "Apologize." "No." "Filthy rat," said Gregory. "You black-souled thing. Gregory has had it with you rats." He held the match closer to Roscuro's face, and a terrible smell of burnt whiskers rose up around the jailer and the rat. And then the match went out, and Gregory released Roscuro's tail. He flung him back into the darkness. "Do not ever touch Gregory's rope again, or you will be sorry." Roscuro sat on the dungeon floor. His whiskers on the left side of his face were gone. His heart was beating hard, and through the light from the match. And though the light from the match had disappeared, it danced still before the rat's eyes, even when he closed them. "Light," he said aloud, and then he whispered the word again. "Light." From that moment forward, Roscuro showed an abnormal, inordinate interest in illumination of all sorts. He was always in the darkness of the dungeon, on the lookout for some light, the smallest glimmer, the tiniest shimmer. His rat soul longed inexplicably for it. He began to think that light was the only thing that gave life meaning, and that he despaired that there was so little of it to be had. He finally voiced this sentiment to a friend, a very old, one-eared rat named Remorso. "I think," said Roscuro, "that the meaning of life is light." "Light?" said Romero. "Ha ha ha, you kill me. Light has nothing to do with it." "What does it all mean, then?" asked Roscuro. "The meaning of life is suffering, specifically the suffering of others. Prisoners, for instance. Reducing a prisoner to weeping and wailing and begging is a delightful way to invest your existence with meaning." As he spoke, Bartocoli, they call him, swung from one extraordinarily long nail of his right paw a heart-shaped locket. He had taken the locket from a prisoner and hung it on a thin braided rope. Whenever Bartocoli spoke, the locket moved. Back and forth it swung. "Are you listening?" Braticoli said to Roscoe. I am listening." "Good," said Braticoli. "Do as I say, and your life will be full of meaning. This is how to torture a prisoner. First, you must convince him that you are a friend. Listen to him, encourage him to confess his sins, and when the time is right, talk to him. Tell him what he wants to hear. Tell him, for instance, that you will forgive him. This is a wonderful joke to play upon a prisoner, to promise forgiveness." "Why?" said Roscuro. His eyes went back and forth, following the locket. "Because," Brotticelli said, you will promise it." "Ha! But you will not grant it. You gain his trust, and then you deny him. You refuse to offer the very thing he wants. Forgiveness, freedom, friendship, whatever that is his heart most desires, you withhold." At this point in his lecture, Brotticelli laughed so hard that he had to sit down and catch his breath. The locket swayed slowly back and forth and then stopped altogether. "Ha!" said Brotticelli. "Ha, ha, ha! You gain his trust, you refuse him, and ha, ha, you become what he knew you were all along. What you knew you were all along. Not a friend, not a confessor, not a forgiver, but, ha, a rat." Brotticelli wiped his eyes and shook his head and sighed a sigh of great contentment. He set the locket in motion again. At that point, it is most effective to run back and forth over the prisoner's feet, inducing physical terror along with emotional. "Oh," he said, "it is such a lovely game, and it is absolutely chock full of meaning." "I would like very much to torture a prisoner," said Roscuro. "I would like to make someone suffer." "Your time will come," said Brotticelli. "Currently all the prisoners are spoken for, but another prisoner will arrive sooner or later." "How do I know this to be true?" "Because, Roscuro, thankfully there is evil in the world, and the presence of such evil guarantees the existence of prisoners. So soon there will be a prisoner for you." "For me?" "Yes," said Brotticelli Rimorso. "Yes. I'm looking forward to it." "Ha, ha, ha! Of course you are looking forward to it. You are looking forward to it because you are a rat. A real rat." "Yes," said Roscuro, "I am a real rat." "Concerned not at all with the light," said Brotticelli. "Concerned not at all with the light," repeated Roscuro. Brotticelli laughed again and shook his head, the locket suspended from the long nail on his paw, swinging back and forth, back and forth. "You, my young friend, are a rat." "Exactly, yes. Evil prisoners, rats, suffering, it all fits together so neatly, so sweetly. Oh, it is a lovely world, a lovely, dark world." Chapter 17. This is the last chapter for today. Small Comforts. Not long after this conversation between Brotticelli and Roscoe did a prisoner arrive. The dungeon door slammed, and two rats watched a man being led by a king's soldier down the stairs and into the dungeon. "Excellent," whispered Brotticelli. "This one is yours." Roscoe looked at the man closely. "I will make him suffer," he said. But as he stared up at the man, the door to the dungeon was suddenly flung open, and a thick, brilliant shaft of afternoon light cut into the dark of the dungeon. "Ugh," said Brotticelli. He covered his eyes with one paw. Roscoe, however, stared directly into the light. Reader, this is important. The rat called Chiaroscuro did not look away. He let the light from upstairs enter and fill him. He gasped aloud with the wonder of it. "Give him his small comforts," shouted a voice at the top of the stairs, and a red cloth was thrown down from the light. The cloth hung suspended for a moment, bright red and glowing, and then the door was slammed shut again, and the light disappeared, and the cloth fell to the floor. It was Gregory, the jailer, who bent to pick it up. "Go on," said the old man, as he held out the cloth to the prisoner. "Take it. You need every last bit of warmth down here." And so the prisoner took the cloth and draped it around his shoulders as if it were a cloak. And the soldier of the king said, "Right then, Gregory, he's all yours." And the soldier turned and went back up the steps and opened the door to the outside world, and some small light leaked in before the door closed behind him. And here we have a picture of the two. And you can tell that one of them is very afraid of the light, but the other seems not to be. That must be Chiaroscuro. "Did you see that?" Roscuro said to Brotticelli. Hideous, ugly, said Botticelli. Ridiculous. What could they possibly mean by letting all that light in at once? Don't they know that this is a dungeon? It was beautiful, said Roscuro. No, said Botticelli. No. He looked at Roscuro intently. Not beautiful, no. I must see more light. I must see all of it, said Roscuro. I must go upstairs. Botticelli sighed. Who cares about the light? Your obsession with it is tiresome. Listen, we are rats. Rats. We do not like the light. We are about darkness. We are about suffering. But, Roscuro said, upstairs. No buts, said Botticelli. No buts. None. Rats do not go upstairs. Upstairs is the domain of mice. He took the locket from around his neck. What? He said, swinging it back and forth. Is this rope made of? Whiskers? The whiskers of whom? Mice. Exactly, and who lives upstairs? Mice. Exactly, mice, said Botticelli, turning his head and spat on the floor. Mice are nothing but little packages of blood and bones, afraid of everything. They are despicable, laughable, and the opposite of everything we strive to be. Do you want to live up in their world? Roscuro looked up, past Botticelli, to the delicious sliver of light that shone from underneath the door. He said nothing. Listen, Botticelli said. This is what you should do. Go and torture the prisoner. Go and take the red cloth from him. The cloth will satisfy your cravings for something from that world. But do not go into the light. You will regret it. As he spoke, the locket swung back and forth, back and forth. You do not belong in that world. You are a rat. A rat. Stay with me. A rat, said Roscuro. Ah, but you are cheating. You must say, I am a rat, said Botticelli, smiling his slow smile at Roscoe. I am a rat, said Roscuro. Again, said Botticelli, swinging his locket. I am a rat. Exactly, said Botticelli. A rat is a rat is a rat. End of story. World without end. Amen. Yes, said Roscoe. Amen. I am a rat. He closed his eyes, and he saw again the red cloth spinning against the backdrop of gold, and he told himself, reader, that it was the cloth that he desired, not the light. The end. So you guys are going to answer some questions about this reading, and then we will move on to the next chapters. I'll see you guys later.